Praise be to Jesus, both now and forever. Amen. Today is the 16th Sunday of the ordinary time, year B. Today, I want to reflect upon this word. Jesus is the center. Jesus, as the sheep shepherd, is the center of our worship. There is a story. I want to begin with this story. There is a certain actor who always entices his audience on stage. He will come on stage, act with the audience, act to the admiration of the audience, and at the end of the day, this actor, popular actor, will end with the recitation of Psalm 23. He would recite Psalm 23, and the audience will end with an applause. Everybody will stand up. There will be a standing ovation, because he is reciting Psalm 23 after his dramatic exhibition. It happens all over and all over again. One day, after his dramatic exhibition, for him now to move on to recitation of the Psalm 23, a young man from the crowd, raised up, called up and told the actor, "I want to recite the Psalm 23. The audience was pleased, and he allowed the young man on stage to come and do the recitation of Psalm 23. When the young man mounted on stage, he started praying Psalm 23 with every decorum. He was passionate about the prayer. He made Psalm 23 to become a prayer, not a dramatic exhibition. And after praying Psalm 23 with the deep devotion that is involved, "The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall." After saying that prayer, the audience, instead of ending in a standing ovation, they were all crying, because they have never had Psalm 23 said in such a way. They couldn't clap, they were not excited, they were shedding tears, because they were touched to the heart because of the prayer of this young man, using the Psalm 23 they have been hearing. Now today in the first reading, Jeremiah chapter 23 from verse 1 to 6, the Lord is calling the shepherds of Israel who have been acting as shepherds, who have not been devoted, who have not been dedicated to their duty as shepherds. They have let the sheep to be scattered because they thought they were acting. They were not really devoted to their work as shepherds, and then the sheep have scattered. The Lord called them, "I'm going to take charge. I'm going to become a shepherd of my flock." That's what. So the Lord was not pleased with the shepherd of Israel who have left the sheep to be scattered, because they were acting. They were not devoted to their work as being shepherd. Now also in Psalm 23, in the responsory psalm, we see also Psalm 23 that the Lord is my shepherd. Jesus is the center of attention. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Pointing out that Jesus himself, God himself, is our shepherd. So God is the shepherd of his people. And then that's why in the second reading of today, Ephesians chapter 2 from verse 13 to 18, we find Paul saying that Jesus is the peace. Jesus is the center. Jesus is the peace between us. And Jesus Christ reconciled us to God. So Jesus is the point. Jesus is the center. And then that's why also we find in the gospel of today, Mark chapter 6 from verse 30 to 34, we find after the apostles have gone to the missionary that Jesus sent, that they came back feeling that Jesus Christ told them, sent them to a lonely place for them to rest. And then the people were coming, still coming in numbers, even after the apostles have preached to them. And then Jesus Christ, feeling pity for them because they were like sheep without shepherd, Jesus Christ himself began to teach them. My dear brothers and sisters out there, this is a message to us. Jesus is the center of attraction. Jesus is the point of our worship. God, these days, people of God are so much attracted to the priests, the pastors, or the men of God more than Jesus himself. All this while, if you have listened to the readings of the previous Sunday, talking about the shepherd, talking about the prophet, the true prophet, I tell people, one of the characteristics of a true prophet of God, of a true shepherd of God, is the prophet that directs people to Jesus and not to himself. And that's why many of times, many people will say, I'm for this person, I'm for this person, I'm for this prophet. This is not the true character of a good Christian, not the less of a Catholic. And that's why Catholic Church is so spectacular, especially now that we have, some of us are losing it. Catholic Church is known as a church that directs people to God, to Jesus Christ, and not to the priest. When a priest comes to the parish and after doing his work there, he leaves, another priest comes, the church continues. There is no attention to the priest himself. The attention is on the Eucharist, on Jesus Christ himself. But what we see nowadays, we see priests, we see pastors, we see men of God who are directing people to themselves. And that's why people can fight for a man of God than for Jesus himself. They can insult you for saying something against the man of God, but they would not. They will keep quiet when Jesus is insulted or Jesus is cajoled by the unbelievers. So attention is being on the shepherd instead of on Jesus himself. Jesus is the point of attention. Jesus should be the point of attraction. That is the point of my reflection. So just like the young man in today, we have to go back to the drawing board. That Jesus is the center of attention. Without Jesus, whatever we are doing in our worship will be in vain. It will be acting. In any worship that is said is not centered on Jesus, that worship is mere action. There are people who are just acting. We need to center our worship on Jesus, who is the source and the summit of our Christian life. That is the Eucharist. So my dear brothers and sisters, on this Sunday, let our mind be directed on Jesus, who is the real and the true shepherd of our souls. May all the pastors, I plead with all the pastors of souls out there, all the men of God out there, when people are so much attracted to you more than Jesus Christ whom you preached, just watch your ministry. Watch what you are doing. You are no more on the right track. You need to direct people to Jesus. If tomorrow you are not there and that ministry or that apostolate cannot move on, you have failed. So what should preoccupy you as a man of God or as a priest or as a religious is for the ability for you to have led people to Christ. Leading people to Christ endures forever. Because even when you are not there, the people are led to Christ, the people build their faith to Christ, whom you have led them to. So my dear brothers and sisters, on this Sunday, the church is calling us to Christ, who is the center of our faith. Jesus should be the foundation of our faith. The priests and the ministers of God are instruments through which God builds our faith. Let us focus our mind on Jesus. And I keep on telling people, priests, I myself as a priest, and my fellow priests out there, the men of God, we are weak. We are all human beings. We can derail. But Jesus himself is the most righteous one. He is the Holy of Holies who can never err. So let our attention be directed to Jesus, and may God continue to bless us as we focus our mind on Jesus and all we do. May God bless and keep us through Christ our